The following episode will contain spoilers. You have been warned.
You're listening to Cinema IRL, the podcast that throws you into the movie and asks the question, what would you do? The classic coming-of-age tale of a young gas station attendant who grows up to be one of the most wanted bank robbers in the country. Amber and Scott discuss this not-so-average story as they discuss Carolina Caroline. And now, Cinema IRL.
I wish I could switch places for just one day.
What would you do?
Put yourself in my shoes.
How do we handle this?
What would you do?
Put yourself in my position.
What would you do?
Now it's your turn.
I think this movie took being a con man a little too far.
How's that?
Well, I don't generally think con man and murderer. Yes, you could put it and make the strong case that there is one that lives in 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. But outside of that, I don't think of con man and murderer and bank robber.
Well, anytime that you have a life of crime, you run the risk of something escalating into a it's me or them scenario and things going sideways and someone getting hurt. And that's what we saw in this episode, where we are discussing the film Carolina Caroline. And it is the story of a small town girl who meets up with a charming con artist and ends up traveling around the South with him, initially just doing small little cons at convenience stores and restaurants and bars and things like that.
Make
but
$10 here, $10 there.
Yeah. And then it escalates into her having fun with it and saying, I think we should start robbing banks.
Yeah, that's a bit of an escalation.
Yeah, and obviously he was only doing small-time things, which don't have a lot of risk associated with them. But once you start going into banks with guns and you do it repeatedly, obviously you are increasing your chances of an issue, which indeed is what happened. So let's go ahead and dig in.
Okay.
So what would you do if you were Carolina and you were in a small town and you met this charming grifter and you saw him do his magic of managing to con someone out of $10 and them not really realizing what had happened? And when she called him on it, he basically said, you have a good eye, here's the $10. And he had stolen the $10 from her boss, essentially. I guess would you keep the $10 or would you give it back to your boss?
I'd give it back to the boss.
Okay. All right, so
You're actually on the clock. You're actually doing your job for the boss at that point.
Yeah.
So
what would you do if you were a small town person and you do have a small town experience throughout your life of this opportunity of someone who is mysterious and exciting outside of what you normally get to experience in your own small town?
obviously she wanted to make some money and be able to do this.
Wasn't it about more than that, though?
Some of it. I don't know. If I'm her, I'm probably just opening an OnlyFans. It's a lot less risky than bank robbing.
Yeah, and
a lot more profitable.
That would have been a much different movie, but she does decide to, after a couple of days of hanging out with this guy, saying, okay, well, Dad, she had been living with her dad, even though she was a grown woman, and saying, we're hitting the road. I love you. And pursuing this new life of learning how to pick a pocket and how to steal money out of someone's bank account. So it did escalate, other than just the $10 con of getting change at the convenience store. They did do higher, more sophisticated crimes, and she's having the time of her life and rolling around in money and hanging out with a guy, and she's living the high life, at least according to her.
Now I'm sitting here thinking, what would this movie have been if they did everything they did, but just as they did stops around, they were doing OnlyFans and incorporating their cons into it, and like they're wearing like ski masks.
That would be a movie.
That would be
a movie.
That would be a movie. Yeah, getting lots of money that's not yours. That's fun.
Would you do that? If someone taught you how to pick pockets and steal money from someone's bank account?
No, because I have my set of morals, and they can get gray as you move on. But one of my core tenets is that you don't steal from individuals. Period. You don't steal from individuals.
Well,
I
initially,
don't care if it's the guy down the street or if it's Elon Musk. You don't steal from individuals.
Well, initially, our character Oliver, who Caroline was doing all of this with, initially used that as a way to legitimize and to justify what he was doing, is saying, well, if you steal a package of gum out of a supermarket, you're not affecting the employees and you're not affecting the small business owner, and you're not affecting the corporate office, you're affecting the shareholders, and they're fine.
And that's not even true either.
Yeah. So
The person you're affecting is yourself and the other customers, because you have to
the price goes up for everybody.
You have to factor shrinkage into the price of goods. So.
Yeah, and then it turns into where you can't get very basic things to run into the market because things are behind lock and windows.
It's just like tariffs. That's essentially theft on the way in, percentage theft on the way in. So they have to raise their prices to cover for that. And it's the same with actually going in. I have experience running a shop, dealing with shrinkage.
Yeah, shoplifting affects every consumer because a small business owner, especially, or any business, even if you want to go as large as Target, they have a high degree of theft and they can't just eat that. It does get passed on to consumers. So you're not just affecting the stockholders, you are affecting everyone in society when you do things like that. So what would you do if you were Oliver and this girl who you're having a blast with, who's run away with you, says, I want to rob a bank? How do you respond to that?
Say what? You want to rob a what?
Bank.
Bank.
A bank. She's from Texas. She has a little bit of a twang. So I'm saying bank.
I guess let's go rob a bank. If I'm
Okay, so you're just going along?
I mean,
Whatever you want. Whatever you want, honey.
If that's the life I've already gotten into.
That's a big difference, though.
It is, but let me tell you. So things like theft is one of those you only have to lose once situations. So if you're going to do it, go freaking big, eliminate the number of times you have to do it, and then get the hell out so you're not caught. So yeah, rather than smaller things like bank fraud where you're emptying out a guy for 10 grand or something like that, which is pretty easily traceable back. Now let's just rob the actual bank.
And when she does this and she's successful, then she wants to rob more banks. And she says to Oliver, how much money would we need to be able to leave the country? And he says, what did he say? Like $300,000?
200 to 300,000.
What the hell? You don't need that much to leave the country.
And that was in...
This movie was it was back in the day where we saw them using payphones and nobody had cell phones. So,
yeah,
a little while ago.
Probably late 80s. And I say that only because when they ran fake IDs later, one of them had a date of birth in 1970. I'm assuming that was her. And I assume we're putting her at like 18.
Oh God, no! She was
19.
No, she was 18 or 19. She was a grown woman.
I don't know if she was that grown.
Oh, she was. She was a grown woman.
Well, it wasn't the 90s.
She wasn't a teenager.
That certainly did not look like the 90s.
Well, also too, they were in small towns, so it's not like someone's gonna be walking around and a bunch of grunge or something.
Honestly, maybe this is just an issue with the film because look at those cars. That's not what would have been driving around. The cars put it in the 70s.
Okay.
So, I don't know. Maybe there's a continuity issue.
All right. So,
either way,
you are saying, okay, whatever you want, honey, let's rob banks.
I'm like, if you want to do a few and score big and get out. But see, here's the thing. He's not going to get out. That's the life he knows.
Well, that's the life he knows on steroids. He wasn't robbing banks. He wasn't pushing that. That is a whole other level because then you start talking about going into controlled environments that might have security guards that call the police and you're using a gun. So once you bring a gun into the situation, that is way different than bumping into someone and stealing their wallet.
Yeah, be careful about the Frankenstein's monster you create because she might want to go rob a bank.
Yeah, and this escalates into a point where a cop goes into a bank just to do some banking and walks in on one of the heists. And to get out, Oliver has to hit the cop on the back of the head, and now they're on the lam.
Yeah, and see, this is kind of what I said, is that if you have two people that rob banks, I guarantee you they will eventually get caught. Don't know if it's going to be 1, 5, 10, 25, 100. Like, you will eventually have luck come up bad for you. Have a cop randomly meander in there. And that's why you can't keep doing it. You've got to do a few and get out.
And they had a whole spree around the South, time and time and time again. Another bank robbery. Robbers terrorized the South.
Girl needed to switch up her costume more.
Well, that's what I thought too. She always wore a short black wig and then a red. Well, the first time she didn't wear this, but then she started wearing a red jacket. I thought, well, gee, honey, they're going to see you coming in that and they are going to know you're the robber. Like, don't wear a uniform. But I guess
In a way, it doesn't matter because the amount of time that somebody could see and prepare is a few seconds because they're being dropped off at the front door, walking in and waving a gun.
all I could think about is all the pedestrians out in the street and they see someone walking towards the bank in the uniform that the bank robber has. So
Yeah. If you're paying attention to them, if you're regular folk. And again, like, she's not taking the long route to get into the bank. She is like right there, few steps go.
okay.
So I still think she should have different costumes. I also think he should have done some of them. Let's be honest, he's just a getaway car.
He is, and I have to assume that's because it was her idea and she wanted to rob banks. So he was the lookout and honked the horn when he heard the police being called on the police scanner. And that final robbery that doesn't go well, when they are on the lam and they're running, they pull over at some point because she's going to throw up because she's just so stressed out over everything that's happening as they're running from the law. And as they're out of the car, a cop comes up and says, "Howdy, folks." And they have fake IDs and she's panicky, but he's like, "It's okay. It's okay." And the cop asks to see their registration, approaches the car, sees glass because they broke the window of the car to steal the car to get away. And at that point, Oliver realizes we're going to get caught. We're going to get pulled in. He's going to know who we are. And he shoots him.
Yeah, so the cop has no grounds to even ask for registration in this situation.
Well,
License, yes. Registration, no.
I mean, license and registration is that's common.
That is a common thing if you are being pulled over on suspicion of a crime while you're in the vehicle. They were out of the vehicle.
Okay, so are you saying what would you do is you'd say no, because that'll go well being a problem for the cop.
Well,
Not going to cooperate?
the cop should have never asked for registration, and he wouldn't have died.
Wow, that's some victim blaming there.
Well, but here's the thing. Like, if you're going to be nosy like that, you need
He's
to be...
not nosy, he's a cop.
Well, you need to be nosy on high alert.
I mean, I heard you say to yourself, like, "Oh, you asked too many questions." He's a cop. Of course he's supposed to ask questions. And also, too, he said that they matched the descriptions of two people they're looking for.
Yeah, but they ran the licenses and they were clean. So that really just should have been the end of it. We've run your license, it's clean. There you go. At that point, he didn't have a choice. Oliver
didn't have a choice but to kill the cop.
Yeah. You have robbed how many banks?
Here's the thing, though.
A bajillion? Like, you're going away for a really freaking long time if you're caught.
And if you get away, it's only a matter of time until you're caught, or you're living your life on the run until you're caught.
Or you get out of the country.
You're going to get caught. At this point, the FBI is at her dad's house. They know their real identities. They're all over the TV. This isn't going to end well. They're only prolonging their freedom on the run. I understand the sense of survival of it's you or it's me, but if a criminal had any clear thinking in a situation like that, they would realize that it's only a matter of time.
Yeah, once you're made, you've got to go to the airport. and you have to pick somewhere and go. That's not in this country. Like, at that point, and you might want to pick one that doesn't have what's the word? Extraditement agreement with the U.S.
So they leave the cop
Which isn't a lot, actually.
dying next to the car. They speed off, and they are driving, and they see a police blockade. So they pull off into this bar, and then they see on the TV in the bar their pictures being broadcast, and they again realize, like, this is closing in on us.
Yeah, you're screwed.
And Oliver asks her for a dance, and they kind of cry, and he says, "I love you," and then at that point makes a grand gesture where I'm gonna take the fall and you run, Caroline, and because they can hear the cops and the sirens approaching the bar, and he starts shooting a gun up into the air, so the whole crowd scatters, and the police shoot him, and down he goes, and Caroline escapes.
Yeah, so
what would you do if you were Oliver in that situation now, where you realize that, wow, this is gonna come to an end here soon?
And I if you're caught, you go away for a very, very long time, and like never get out type.
Yeah, he shot and killed a state trooper. You're going away for a very long
Well,
time,
actually,
if not
probably-
forever.
They're in the South. They're probably getting a chair or something. So I guess maybe not that long. If I'm him, I'm shooting twice in the air, and then turning and looking for the back door.
You're gonna try and run?
I'm going to try to run because I don't want to kill myself, and death by police is suicide. I don't want to go to jail.
Well, would you do that so Caroline would run, so she'd get us?
You're making Caroline
Get away.
think you're going to suicide by cop and force her to go. Which
Okay, so you would stay behind and try and get her to freedom.
I always try to think, like, what if that person was you? One, what the hell's happened to our lives? Two,
Got bills to pay. Desperate times call for desperate measures.
well, OnlyFans. Hang on, I don't know if I should recommend that for my wife.
Okay, if this is what you told me to do.
Well, we can.
Stay tuned, folks, for my OnlyFans.
Yeah, no. Top priority is saving you. The problem is you don't necessarily know that it does save her because you're kind of the mastermind.
It saves her in that moment. The cops are coming, the sirens are blaring, they're on their way. It gets her out of the bar. Beyond that, who the heck knows?
Yeah, you're killing yourself to give her a
Chance.
slightly better chance.
Yeah.
No, I'm not killing myself. I'm running and seeing if I can somehow get away.
Okay, fair enough.
I don't know. I would have to be more well acquainted with what's actually going on in the bar.
So, jumping back for a moment here, there was a time where they were staying at a hotel, and it was a nice hotel, and the busboy came up and brought them room service, and happened to see the uniform, her bank robber uniform, and the wig and the duffel bag, and realized who she was.
And I need to put a clarification on something I just thought about
Okay.
for the last one. I'm not doing what I said I'm doing.
Okay.
I'm shooting twice in the air.
Okay.
Hopefully, I'm smart enough to have a hat on me. And then, like, you shoot it twice in the air without the hat on. Then you basically put on the hat and you run out the door, not with her, but you run out the front because you're scared of the shooter. And you just hope that there's enough confusion that you can get away.
That's a
Temporarily.
good idea. And also, too, I don't think we should be giving crime tips here on the podcast. Don't do any of the things you hear here. Be law-abiding citizens. Do not follow this as advice.
Maybe we should make it advice. It's the Cinema IRL criminal edition.
Also, tell the system not to edit out the fact that I said here because they were different heres. Anyway,
It's not going to right now.
So back to the
hotel.
The hotel. So at this point, you realize that, oh shoot, and Oliver's in the shower, and Caroline is receiving the room service tray, and all of this happens. What do you do when you realize, oh my gosh, this guy knows who I am.
One, what the hell are you doing? Like, you don't have that stuff out, especially if you've called for room service. I
Yes,
mean,
you tidy up. What would you do? You would tidy up.
hide the bag, hide the wig, hide anything that could connect you, for God's sake. Okay, let's assume you've been caught at this point, and you're getting out, you're going to confront this guy.
Yeah, and by caught, just identified. He didn't, the bellboy didn't catch anyone. He just realized who they were.
So I'd probably start with what he did, pushing him up against the wall.
He who?
Oliver.
Okay, so Oliver gets out of the shower and realizes what's happening, and he blocks the bellboy from getting out.
Yeah, he
Continue.
pushes him up against the wall and takes his wallet, and then looks at all of his information. That is the good first step.
Trying to intimidate someone into compliance and silence because you're telling them where they live and you're going to come get them.
But this is one of those situations where you can go honey and vinegar at the same time. On this one, you push it up against it, and then you look at it, and then you hand it back to him and say, blah, 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 here's all your stuff. I don't ever want to have to see you again, because if I do, it's going to be at your house, and it will be very ugly.
He said something similar to that.
Well,
Sentiment was the same.
Without
holding him down.
Yes, you take the $1,000,
but you have to.
You hand it to him and say, "You're going to make money off our screw up here. Here's $1,000. So you're going to get $1,000 for saying nothing. And if you do say something, I'm going to see you at your house, and it's going to be really bad for you. Please don't make me threaten you. I don't want to do it, but rest assured, I will do whatever I need to stay safe. And if that means coming to your house, he's coming to your house."
Well, Oliver did offer him $1,000, and he did pin him up against a wall and then pin him down on the bed because the busboy was scared, realizing he had stumbled into finding the bank robbers and was trying to leave the room. So I don't know that the busboy's just going to hang out and have a rational conversation with two people.
No, you have to pin him and get his information first. Like, you have to do that.
Okay, which is what he did.
But
that's what Oliver did.
You keep a physical presence between him and the door, but you don't need to hold him down. You could have a rational conversation with him. Because here's the thing. If you keep emotion out of it, you can get people to make rational decisions. I'm going to pay you $1,000 to not say anything, but
I think
understand that if you do say something, it's not only just that, it's me coming to your house.
That's lovely, but I think the tactic of fear is more effective than just trying to make this a money-making opportunity for someone, because then you're still inclined to turn them in, whereas if someone's terrified, they're probably going to be a little bit more compliant.
Yeah, see, here's the thing. If somebody's yelling and screaming and being highly emotional, they're being highly emotional, and they're acting from a place of emotion.
Which they weren't. Nobody was, so I'm not sure where you're going there.
Oh, yeah, no, they absolutely were. They were acting out of fear.
Nobody was screaming and yelling.
He was very loud.
Oliver?
Yes. Anyway, I want to portray calmness. I want him to know that I am cold and calculating, and I will do everything I freaking say I'll do if he screws up. It was bad luck for him.
Him who?
The busboy.
Okay.
So you're going to get paid on our bad luck, and then you still, though, immediately pack and leave. Like, you can't trust that. Because realistically, you're not going to go to his house. But if he said anything, you're going to have bigger problems before you can get to his house, and vengeance against the bellboy is not going to be at the top of your mind.
So our movie ends with Caroline on her own because Oliver's dead, and she is going to leave the country. And as she buys her one-way ticket to Ecuador in cash with all of her stolen money, she still pulls a con, which is what started all of this, of trying to get change back and money back from confusing someone, of putting money back and forth when you pay for something. So she had very much embraced the whole con man lifestyle, even after everything she had been through.
Bitch, are you stupid? Are you stupid?
Especially since the flight to Ecuador wasn't leaving until later that night at 8. And I thought, all this person needs to do is recognize you or be suspicious about you bringing out a big wad of cash for a one-way ticket to Ecuador to be able to have the police come and get you between now and 8 o'clock when your flight leaves. I would not buy a one-way ticket because that seems dicey.
Yeah, you buy the round trip ticket because, let's be honest, this is a time when it was actually cheaper to buy round trip tickets than it was to buy one-ways.
If you just have a big wad of $100 bills and you want a one-way ticket out of the country, that is a little
you just
suspicious.
You buy a round trip. It's less suspicious. You just got to think about things like this. Yeah, don't try to con your last hurdle. Just do it. Walk away. Go get a sandwich from a shop. Eat. Get on your plane. Be as low key as you possibly can until you're out of the country.
Yeah, they're still looking for her, so be a little discreet.
We hope you enjoyed our episode. Thank you for listening. And to catch all the new episodes, please subscribe. We release 2 to 3 episodes weekly, so we'll have new content regularly. Until next time.